Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator actively alienating everyone in both the analog and digital world. Well, welcome and good evening, you wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar D8. Here you go. Iced coffee on the house. Just bring this coupon with you to the register and it'll be no charge. My patheticness really knew no bounds. But since she went through the trouble, I might as well take her up on the offer. Even though it started out as such a lovely day, I had to get carried away and do that stupid thing. I had completely ruined it. But really, you really saved my hide there. I have really come to see you as reliable. Even I was scared. But K-chan was in trouble, so I had to be brave and do my best. I'm trying to decide between what to use for a thumbnail. Not that there's any suspense. Since you guys obviously have already seen the thumbnail. Right now you're just having to deal with me being indecisive. Well, whichever one I decide between. Well, a little embarrassed by what you just said. So I had to be brave and do my best. Xion made a show of folding her arms boldly. Xion, really thank you. I was thinking Xion, but I really wanted to thank Mion. Mion, really thank you. Now, cheer up a little. If you feel indebted, then when you have the chance, you should help somebody in need. Like, for example, if I'm ever in trouble. Please come and save me. Ah, yeah, of course. It's a promise. You absolutely have to. Taking advantage of my words, she seemed happy about my promise. So if I'm ever in trouble, K-chan will come and save me. I hope trouble comes soon. Ah, you finally smiled, she said as she smiled herself, poking me in the cheek. A downtrodden K-chan is as good as an imposter. Come on, smile, smile. That tickles. So stop, wah. Thanks to Xion's meddling, I finally cheered up a little. All the muscles in my body that had stiffened because of the incident finally began to relax a little. When you're in a better mood, don't you get a little hungry? I'm kinda hungry, so I want to eat some pancakes or something. Do you want some too, K-chan? I wanted to show a little restraint, but restraint really wasn't my thing. That's why I replied without any. They're good, right? I'm pretty picky when it comes to pancakes. Haha, don't worry. Our pancakes have a pretty good reputation. Shion ordered some pancakes from a nearby waitress. An employee ordering from another employee seems kinda weird. Hey, speaking of that, wasn't Shion in the middle of a shift? She's been slacking off while talking to me. I told you my uncle you saved me when I was surrounded by hoodlums, so he's rewarding you. So I have the manager's permission. That's exactly the opposite of what happened. Is that alright? It's perfectly fine. By the time the pancakes arrived, we had entered into a relaxed conversation. As the two of us ate pancakes, we livened the mood with some chit-chat. About what was on TV, celebrities, that kind of thing. That sounds really enjoyable. Hobbies, food. Really nothing more than idle chit-chat, but still that's the best thing to do with friends. Talking together like this, I once again became conscious of Shion being a girl. Hey now, that's funny talk, Keiichi Mabura. Shion and Mion are the same person. If there was anything different between them, it was only whether or not Mion admitted she was Mion. But given that, how come our conversation was this different? Kei-chan, you don't think of my sister as a girl, do you? That's not true. If she were a guy, I'd punch the living daylights out of her. I think the reason you guys get along so well is because you have that kind of platonic relationship. That's a pretty rare and enviable thing to have, don't you think? I don't get what you're saying, but it really would be a waste to treat her like a girl. Hey, Kei-chan, that's sexist. Not really, it's more so just saying that it's like, it'd be a concern that it would get in the way of the friendship. Because at the end of the day, a platonic and a romantic relationship are different. Now that being said, I will say this. I'm the kind of person that I would greatly value having a very strong platonic, or rather emotional connection. Yeah. With somebody I'm romantic with. Heck, main difference between a romantic relationship and a platonic relationship is intimacy. Heck, sex or any sort of physical intimacy is supposed to be a physical, representation of emotional intimacy. Main point is this. They're different things. They're both valuable, but it's not sexist to say that you'd not want to think of someone you see as a platonic friend in a romantic way, because then it's, changes that. But of course, if there's someone you see in a romantic way, you want to be romantic with them. Obviously, no one wants to try to be romantic with somebody that's just being platonic. Obviously, that doesn't make any sense. Maybe I'm just trying to say is the two things are different, but it's not sexist, it's more so just being self-awareness of how you feel about yourself and how you feel about the person you're talking to. And what you actually want out of your relationship with the person, whether you want it to be platonic or romantic. That being said, ideally, someone you're romantic with should be the closest of friends with you, and someone that you have the closest emotional, bond with, and it should be the person you feel would trust, that you can trust and care about, and be trusted by and cared about by the most. You guys know what I mean. Just saying, it's a big difference. Hearing the word sexist was cause for introspection. Was I really prejudiced against Mion and Shion for? No. I see no prejudice at all. Mion was Mion. She was the best friend a guy could have, no reservations, and head and shoulders above me when it comes to club activities. Yeah, and that's basically the thing. It's like, okay, you're just seeing this as a person, as a friend, but it's not sexist to say that, okay, if you're thinking about somebody in a sexual way, that obviously it changes the dynamic. Now, obviously, that can be a lot for the better and really amazing. But, again, that does take introspection itself. It just simply takes a moment for you to take a moment to think, what do you want out of your relationship with the person? Do you want it to be romantic? If you want it to be romantic, then that's fucking awesome. If not, then you should at least, either way, take some time to think about it. If I met her 5 years earlier, my life probably would have been a lot more fun. Of this, I had no doubt. Then what about Shion? She was Mion's little sister, and it hadn't even been 3 days since we met. Her relationship was much more distant. All thread in common was I knew her sister, and for Shion, it was the same. I was somebody she met 3 days ago because I was a friend of her sister's. Yours for Mion and Shion? Friendliness? Familiarity? Playing around those unclear thoughts for a while? I had stopped listening to Shion. Now, I'd say the main difference between Shion and Mion, aside from the fact that we had never seen Mion in this kind of outfit, is that the Shion personality is much more emotionally vulnerable, is the best way to put it. And everyone's like, what do you mean? Whether it's right now, where she's talking like this, the Mion that we're used to talking to, even though at this point I think in the story that Shion has kidnapped Mion and has her locked in a fucking basement and is impersonating her sister that she's feeding with, like, Triscuits or something. The main thing is that there's more vulnerability in the way she presents herself. What? And I mean that both in the way... Damn, my voice. And I mean that both in the way she is right now and the way she was when she was yelling at the biker thugs. Because at the end of the day, it's showing a increase in emotional response to me. Whether it's an emotional response to being angry at those that would threaten me and actually caring about my safety and being concerned about me, or an increased emotional response, or rather, the way she's talking to me, there's less walls up than, say, with Mion. Like, Mion, it's more so, oh, we're going to talk about this, video game or club activity, and we're just... And again, it's good friends, it's more so... There's more warmth, intimacy, more... And also, I'd say femininity here, not just the costume, but I mean... like the facial reactions. She's more animated, she's more cheerful, she's more... I guess the best way to put it is, more than just saying whether or not Keiichi Mabura is romantically feeling invested in her, it's more so... it's almost palpable. The level of interest and just genuine, not infatuation, but just genuine benevolence, not the right word. I don't know, safety, reassurance, lighthearted interest in somebody. The idea of talking to somebody who is actually genuinely enjoying your conversation and values you as a person. It's more so like as opposed to Keiichi desiring Shion. It's more so a sort of a subconscious feeling that Shion is desiring Keiichi. Now, obviously, if you take it to fucking extremes, it becomes like yandere shit, which is obviously fucking terrifying and is not respecting people's boundaries. And of course, last thing anybody wants, let alone me, especially me, is somebody I wouldn't feel safe with. If anything, I'd say someone you feel safe with is perhaps one of the things that you would probably care the most about when it comes to that sort of stuff. I'm trying to think of the best way to say that. It'll probably come to me in a moment. Hypothetically, okay. Are you listening? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm listening. This is just a hypothetical question, okay? Both me and my sister are in trouble, okay? We're dangling off the side of a cliff. Which one of us do you save? You can only save one. Now, of course, Keiichi at the moment still thinks that this is just Mion pretending to be two different people. But they're actually two different people. Hypothetically, at this point, we believe also that due to the anime, I think at this point Shion's already kidnapped and replaced Mion and is pretending to be her sister. So now she's pretending to be herself? She wasn't saying it to tease me, but had a playful tone in her voice. That's not a nice question. I want to save you both, but I can't do that, right? Right? You can only save either Shion or Mion. Who do you save? For Mion, I don't think she'd be in that situation in the first place. It's something she needs to get out of herself. But what about the normal, frail Shion? I guess I'd have no choice. It's not my sister, right? Mion and Shion were different people. I suppose it would come to that. I couldn't confirm nor deny it. She should have been smiling, but her gaze locked firmly to mine. In other words, that's it, isn't it? My sister is... Huh? He? Sorry, I messed up. What was I trying to say? She was trying to laugh in a lighthearted manner, but I felt there was something more behind her words. Was Mion trying to tell me something through Shion? Not being able to put a finger on exactly what it was I was vexing. This, again, I don't know if certain things have occurred yet. Maybe she's just thinking about certain things out of her... Because I know she's upset about certain things. But if memory serves, I think in any of the higurashi animes, none of the people started doing bad things until after, or at least the moment of, the fucking Higurashi Watanagashi festival. Shion, to hide her embarrassment, turned the conversation around. So I think at this moment she might be having awkward thoughts about that sort of stuff. But I don't think anyone at this point in the story would have done anything bad. More importantly, just now, were you surprised when everyone kept on showing up? Of course I was. If it were Ren or Satoko, that would have been one thing. But for all those people, young and old together, they were from all Hinamizawa, right? Yeah, that's right. Everybody in Hinamizawa is pretty close-knit. An enemy of one is an enemy of all. Nobody is going to look on from the sidelines. They're a pretty reliable group of residents. If somebody's being picked on, then everybody unites to get rid of the bully. It kinda sounds like the Mafia or Yakuza's brand of unity. You shouldn't say something like that. It's something you should be thankful for. You were saved by the unity, weren't you? Never forget to show your appreciation. I half-heartedly agreed. I knew, but it would feel embarrassing to show that appreciation. I knew full well I should be appreciative. Everybody really is close-knit, aren't they? Maybe it's because of tradition. Hinamizawa has been in danger of becoming a ghost town on several occasions. There's been a history of the villagers uniting together each time to fight for the village's continued existence. For example, Kei-chan, did you know about Hinamizawa Dam Project? Oh well, last time I had to go out and beyond to find out about that sort of stuff, and you're just outright telling me now. That's... Huh. That's a thing. Huh. I guess what I was trying to say earlier is, I don't know, it probably does sound odd. Does it sound odd? Is it odd? Is it odd that what I would value most in a romantic partner is someone who cares about me? Would never hurt me? Someone I could actually be vulnerable with and they would still respect me. Someone who is affectionate and kind to me and wants me to be safe and to feel safe. I don't know. Hinamizawa Dam Project. Let's see, I feel like I heard someone talk about it before. About 10 years ago, their son proposed to build a dam here, which would be submerged Hinamizawa underwater. Oh, that story. I think I heard my dad talk about that. But I'm pretty sure the plan was cancelled, right? We made them cancel it. Everybody banded together, so that was a well-earned victory. That sounded pretty much like the story I heard. The protest intensified to the point where it was featured in the newspaper and magazines. As a result, the plan was suspended. The whole story with the dam project apparently started before I was born. At first, the proposal was only for exploratory purposes or a small dam to control erosion. But then the cat was let out of the bag. If it were to be completed, it would have been the biggest dam in Japan, not just Hinamizawa, but several villages upstream would have been submerged as well. The protests immediately began. Petitions to cancel or relocate the project were drafted and submitted to the Diet. They even went as far as the Ministry of Construction in Tokyo to hand over a direct appeal to the minister. The previous landowners sued the government, stating that there was inconsistencies in the purchase agreement and the transaction should be nullified. Owners of the yet unacquired land split their properties, increasing the number of landowners in order to stifle the project. It was all very precious when the land acquisition was still about the money. Eventually, they started relying on eminent domain in order to seize the land. It started at that point. The riot police began to get violent. Riot police? You mean the police. Why would they act violent? They punched. They kicked. There was a time I was hit. Right around here, I think. My skin split open and a whole lot of blood spit out. Saying that, Shion indicated her temple by poking at it. Well, what happened to the police? Filing a complaint against the riot police for police brutality would seem kind of strange for some reason. Naturally, they wouldn't pay heed to something like that. You wouldn't be able to establish proof on who exactly hit you, and they could just justify their actions saying you were the interfering police duties. My nana went off like a firework. After that, it was amazing. Like a full-scale war. We weren't just going to sit by and idly file complaints. We went on the offensive. First, in order to call attention to the government, they filed a temporary injunction in the court. Then, in order to gain public support, they called in prominent scientists to state that Hinamizawa was a valuable nature preserve. They pressured the prefectural and municipal assemblies, saying that the prefectural governor ignored his constituents when he approved the project and demanded his resignation. They completely and thoroughly denounced him. Naturally, in Hinamizawa, a ferocious conflict, worthy of being called the Dam War, began. In order to suppress the police brutality, they coordinated with the network channels and exposed the violence of the riot squad members to the public. On top of that, they put together a special expose themed around the government repressing the citizens and aired it nationally. It worked wonders. Following that, the SWAT teams had their hands cuffs. Day after day, the petitions and demonstrations continued. Propaganda was used to help garner support. The circle of support gradually expanded outwards from Hinamizawa, either that bore fruit, or the government finally decided against it. It was announced that the dam project was indefinitely suspended a few years ago. Oh, so no one got killed this time. That's good. We did everything we could. The entire village banded together and fought. At that time, we were desperate, but now that it's over, it's actually become a pretty good memory. The villagers' feelings of solidarity and unity still haven't faded. Shion said that as she focused off into the distance. I felt that those same eyes were filled with anguish, but rather a sense of pride. That kind of solidarity is pretty nice. You don't see it too often, bridging the generation gap and unifying the region. I think so too. The dam project was a trial. I think that just the fact that we were able to overcome it is huge. The fear I was feeling until just now gradually began to fade. When people began to show up one after another while I was engaged with those things, I thought it was frightening. But now I felt from the bottom of my heart that I felt I'd been rude. The villagers prepared to defend their homeland to the death. The sense of solidarity that fostered. It might seem impudent to say this, but I was a little jealous. If I had been Hinamizawa when the protests against the dam was going on, I might have been able to share in the sense of solidarity. Kei-chan, you weren't here at the time, so I don't think you can fully feel the solidarity in the village. But everybody shares it, thoroughly, even with somebody who just moved in here like you, Kei-chan. She couldn't have been more right. So many people got together to help me out when I just moved here, even though they were strangers whose names I don't know yet. So though obviously if you, start helping some random cop who's looking into a conspiracy in the village, the rest of the village might be kind of pissed about that. Maybe even a deity might be pissed. Particularly a deity that lives in a fucking shrine with time-traveling aliens and stuff. A odd feeling began welling up inside me. When I lived in the city, I didn't even know my own neighbors. I thought that was natural. But that was an absurd and pathetic thing. Even though I thought of them as strangers, all the other villagers viewed me as a comrade. Happiness and warmth. I was acutely aware of those feelings, as they gradually welled up inside me. Sonozaki-san, the manager wants you to work the floor. A more senior waitress waved her hand and called out to Shion. It seemed like it was time for work. Okay, I'm coming. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Viola, a enemy combatant in Zone of the Enders, the second runner for the PS2. Really great mech game. One of her lines is, "I'm coming." But obviously I can't voice act that right. I'm just saying this. Play the game. It's a good game. It's got good music. It's a timeless game that will always be good. It's fine. Thanks for hanging out with me. It was fun. Did we ever get our keys back? Oh, are you going home? Yeah. My mom gets fussy if I'm not home by dinner time. It seemed that Shion wanted to say something, but she swallowed her words. Like we hadn't talked enough, that kind of feeling. Looking at that expression, I regretted saying something that had disappointed me like that. I was about to say I could stay for a little bit longer when Shion got up from her seat. Here, if you use the coupon, it should cover the pancakes as well. Saying that, she showed me a coupon booklet as she tore out a few sheets and handed them to me. Convenient, isn't it? It's a perk I got on top of my salary. It's okay. I can pay for the pancakes myself. Hey! Being so reserved doesn't fit you, Kei-chan. If I were my sister, you would have gladly let me pay for it. She said as she laughed gently, stopping me from opening my wallet. Being told so with such an encouraging smile really resounded with me. Sonozaki-san, sorry, could you take care of the register? Ah, yes, right away. Later, today was fun. Saying that, Shion smiled one more time at me. Oh, Mion? Thanks a lot for the day, I owe you one. If you really think that, then return the favor. I'm looking forward to it. After I said it, I realized I mistakenly called her Mion. I didn't know if she realized it or not. I'm sure it'll have no... lazing around watching television after dinner was part of my daily routine. Timestamps. Everyone's like, you're not using the word correctly. I don't care. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. I hope everyone has all the hugs and head pats you could ever need. Bye.